Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday to you. I hope everybody is doing absolutely fantastic today and that you've had a really great week. Also, great week in your lives and a great week in our last week of the whole life detox. So this week I'm doing things a little bit differently with this call. I know that some of you have had some issues in the past trying to get into the call. There's been some confusion there, so I'm doing it a little bit differently this time, and I hope that this is going to work well for everybody. If you do have any issues accessing any, the recording at any time, let me know. But for now, this should be working properly, and so fingers crossed that this all works well, but I believe that, based on the changes that I made and everything, that we are good to go. So I want to start this out with just a little bit, and especially where we are this week with, emotions, beliefs, stress, kind of really checking in with ourselves and our bodies and taking some time to take a deep breath and deep breath out. And really just ask ourselves how we are showing up every day for the detox and in our lives, how we are honoring ourselves. And that's a question that I ask a lot because it's a question that we usually don't ask ourselves enough. So I really want to make sure that you're keeping this in mind as you're doing this detox, because this is obviously an involved process. So how are you showing up for yourself, and how are you showing up for this process of the detox? So I also want to do this a little bit differently today because I actually want to go through the slides one more time. I've gotten so many fantastic questions. I kind of want to go back and revisit the material and the slides with you, and then go ahead and proceed with those questions as well that you've had. But first of all, I did want to go ahead and say that I've gotten such fantastic comments from this week's module, from module 3. I've been getting now more comments like I have so much more energy than I did before. I haven't felt this way in years, which is awesome. That's exactly what I want to hear now in week 3, and what I'm sure you want to hear and experience during week 3. I also had somebody else tell me that they lost 5 pounds between weeks 1 and 2. So they're really looking forward to the next few weeks as they start the reintroduction period. So that's really great feedback, obviously. Somebody else told me that their sex drive basically woke up, that it had been dormant and sleeping, and that they didn't even really know it. Like, they weren't really aware of how unaroused they were until they really cleaned up their diet and they started to see the changes in themselves and how they feel. And so husband is a happy camper. So I'm definitely very happy to hear that. Somebody else mentioned that their seasonal allergies are now gone, which are really bad in the spring and summer months for them. So it's basically like, for them, 7 months of, misery, and those are now completely gone from going through the elimination diet and the core detox week last week. And now they are excited to dive in to test out the different foods and see what might be causing the allergies, so that they know what they need to stay away from. So that is also a huge success. I'm very excited about this, as I'm sure you are, with all the changes that you're seeing in your own life and in your body. So I want to go ahead also, and as always, just let you know that if you have any questions, go ahead and send them over to me. You can email me your questions, anything that you want to ask, whether it's about this module or another module, or any concerns that you have, any issues that you've been experiencing or facing. Go ahead and shoot me an email and let me know. Okay, so the questions that I got this week are actually, I mean, you guys impressed me so much. They're very, very, very good questions. And those are things that even if you didn't ask, I would probably want to bring up during the call anyway. So thank you for making my job even easier, because I know that you guys have these questions, and don't be shy to ask anything. There's no, stupid question. There's no bad question. And you are probably, if you have a question, then somebody else probably has the same question or a similar question as well. So thank you so much for participating and for being so active in this process. So I want to talk a little bit about journaling. That's one of the questions that I got, and I'm not, obviously you have the full video for for this module already, which was even a little bit longer than the other modules, because there's a lot of material here. Of course, we had a lot of material in the other modules, but there was just so much to talk about here with the food and the other piece, the emotions and stress piece. So I'm not going to go through everything again. I'm just going to go through the areas where we had some questions and go ahead and address those. And if any questions come up for you, then go ahead and email me, please. All right, so there's still some confusion about the journaling, especially going into week 3. And I mentioned journaling here, and then I also mentioned journaling on this slide as well for the reintroduction week. So I am letting you know how important journaling is in this stage of the detox. And it's very important throughout the entire detox, but it's especially important now, because now is when we're going to start seeing the different reactions that we're having to foods that we've eliminated, if we have any. And chances are that, in this day and age, with the things that we eliminated, we may experience some kind of reaction to at least one or more of the foods that we eliminated. So journaling here is going to be very, very important. My suggestion is, with journaling this week, is to, every time that you reintroduce a food, and we know that we're going to be eating that food 3 times a day for 3 days. So let's say that you're testing out cheese. So you're going to have cheese with breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And every time that you eat it, make a note of how you feel. You might start to feel a reaction, if you're going to have any, maybe like 30 minutes later. Really depends. You may not experience a reaction until later in the day, but as soon as you notice something, go ahead and make a note. I ate so-and-so and I had this kind of reaction. Or I ate this and I felt absolutely nothing at all. I feel just as great as I did when we were doing the core week last week. So just make sure that you're noting that when you eat for the 3 days for the one food that you're reintroducing. Okay. So that is my recommendation for journaling for the reintroduction piece. For all the other things, I would continue to suggest to just take some time in the morning, whether it's 5 or 10 minutes in the morning, and then another 10 or 15 minutes at night to kind of recap on the day and how you felt in general, how you're feeling emotionally, how your body's reacting to different things. Also, to practice your gratitude, which is a huge part of not only this process, but just in general of having a better, happier, more fulfilling life, is when you can express gratitude for all the things in your life, even if they're small, even if you can't think of a ton of things. If you can think of 3 to 5 things that are making a difference in your life and making your life better, it's going to have a huge impact on how you feel and the level and the quality of your life and your happiness. Gratitude increases happiness. So if we practice that daily, we're going to get so much more. It also raises our energy and our vibration so that we can also manifest better things into our lives. All right, so that was journaling for this week. Somebody else then asked me, let's see, is it here? No. Okay, but it was in this area of food. I feel completely awesome. And I know that you mentioned that it was okay to stay here for a while, not reintroduce foods. Is it really okay to eat this way for a longer period of time? What if I wanted to do this for a month? It is completely okay to stay at week 3, like having a similar meal plan to week 3 for a longer period of time, whether it's a month or 2 months. And if you want to kind of carve out your um, habits, your eating habits from week 3, you will be absolutely fine in terms of all the nutrients that you need, and you will be actually eating cleaner than 99% of the population. So this is an extremely clean way to eat, and it's this nutrition that you're getting in week 3 is absolutely complete. So if you wanted to continue to eat this way for more time, if you want to lose more weight, continue to detox even more. If you feel fantastic, your energy levels are through the roof, you're enjoying your morning smoothie, you feel a lot of energy, you feel satisfied, go for it. If you want to maybe add a little bit of meat here and there, whether it's, a little turkey, which is a cleaner source of meat than chicken, you could definitely do that. Make sure that it's pasture raised. If you want to eat fish, you can go ahead and do that. If you want to add something like bison, which is a very grounding kind of meat, you can do that. Just make sure that the sources of these meats are actually very, very clean, that they're pasture raised, and grass-fed and all of that, if it's going to be beef, so that you're getting, good into your body and not putting back toxins. If you're eating really, really clean and doing all these other wonderful things, that you're not adding toxins into your body through that. So that is definitely an option, and you're not missing out on anything. I mean, of course, if you want to have a day where you have more flexibility in what you're eating and you want to splurge, that's actually a really great way to do it. If you eat, clean 90% of the time or 80% of the time, then when you do eat something that isn't as clean, or you'd like definitely go all out, you go out for cocktails, you go out for dinner, and you have something that you normally wouldn't have, then it doesn't have the same impact on your body as if you're eating it every day. That is, common sense. But sometimes common sense is not necessarily common practice. So, that's something that you can definitely do if you want to stick to this way of eating longer and, carve out some habits, healthy habits for yourself and for your life and your nutrition moving forward. Alrighty. Oh, I got a great question about sugar. And it's on this list here because there was some confusion. Enter the reintroduction week, and then we're talking about things like corn or alcohol or GMOs, sugar, and trans fats. At the bottom of the slide, I do mention that I recommend greatly reducing or eliminating toxins like processed foods and junk food and sugars and GMOs, which are mostly soy, corn, and canola, and sugar in the US and in other parts of the world, though there seems to be more prevalence of those genetically modified organisms in the States. Trans fats and alcohol. So I definitely, if you are able to, if you can, and you know how to identify GMOs, I recommend staying away from them completely. I realize that that may not be 100% possible all the time, and that is completely fine. Again, I mean, we want to make sure that our bodies are strong and that we have a strong basis for them, so that when we do eat these foods once in a while, it's okay and it doesn't have like a huge impact on our bodies. But generally speaking, we do want to stay away from those. Same for trans fats. Completely unnecessary. We don't have to eat them ever. There's just no need for them at all in our diets. And it's a completely newer way of, eating as of like the last 100 years or so that we've introduced a lot of these foods into our diets. So we don't even know the real long-term effects besides what we can see from them now, which is pretty negative. So I am not suggesting that you should, go ahead and make it a point to reintroduce GMOs. Not at all. If you do happen to, eat those once in a while, that's completely up to you and how you choose to handle that. When you do introduce new foods, it could be like oranges, for example. That's very concrete. Corn, if you can find it organic and non-GMO, and see how you do with corn. A lot of people are allergic to corn. A lot of people are allergic to dairy and to eggs and gluten. So these foods that you see more on the left-hand column are more of the ones that if you want to reintroduce, and we've eliminated, those are the ones that you can pick and choose what if any of these, or if you want to reintroduce all of them, how you want to reintroduce them, or when you want to reintroduce them, right? More of the things on the right, fast food, preservatives, GMOs, trans fats and everything. It's more like, well, if you have that once in a while, it's probably not, a huge deal, but ideally we would be eliminating those things completely for the rest of your life. This is actually a list of the things that we eliminated during week 1, and that we can, continue. If we can continue to leave out of our diets, we will have much healthier lives. But so the question was specifically about sugar. How much sugar is enough, and is it okay to reintroduce sugar? I've been, craving sugar for a long time. I consider myself to be a sugar addict. I don't want to go back there. So how do I even reintroduce sugar, and how do I know how much is enough? I would suggest, my suggestion would be to eliminate sugar, added sugars from your diet on a regular basis, and then just proceed with moderation, like for special occasions. So there's a big difference between natural sugars and added sugars. There's a big difference. There's sugar in basically all vegetables. Obviously, all fruits are sugar. There's fiber and water and vitamins and minerals and other things as well. But like even broccoli has sugar. Avocados have sugar. Nuts and seeds have sugar in them. They're lower quantities, but they're still sugar. So there's a big difference in the sugar, that comes from a piece of broccoli than the sugar that comes from a Coke or or a Snickers bar or something like that, which are added sugars. So again, I would recommend eliminating those from your diet. Those are food products that have other things in them anyway, like preservatives and genetically modified foods and things like that. So those are the things that we would kind of leave aside and not reintroduce into our diets, unless we're having like a special treat day or something like that, if that's something that you want to do. In general, I would not recommend exceeding 25 grams of sugar per day, of added sugars per day. This is added sugars, right? So I would not recommend reintroducing that. Introducing more than 20 to 25 grams of sugar a day, which comes out to about 100 calories a day. That is actually a really lenient consumption of sugar, of daily sugar, of daily added sugars. I would typically recommend doing way less. I personally do not eat 100 calories of sugar a day, of added sugars a day. Most of my sugar intake will come from vegetables. I do little fruits. I do some apples and some lower sugar fruits like berries. I also do some grapefruit. So yes, I don't have a ton of sugar in my diet anyway, but when it comes, to added sugars, I really limit that on a daily basis. So that would be my recommendation. No more than 100 calories of added sugars per day. Okay, so those were the questions regarding food. And then we started talking about stress and emotions and beliefs and meditation and some other wonderful things that make this my favorite module of the Whole Life Detox. And so I had a really great question, because in one of these slides, I say, well, if you suspect that you are suffering from adrenal fatigue or exhaustion, you may get a saliva test from a functional or naturopathic doctor, and that's really the most reliable way to know what your adrenals are doing. It measures cortisol, it measures some other hormones as well, and so that's probably the most reliable way. There is a test that you can do at home. You need to be able to take your blood pressure. So if you have one of those portable blood pressure things, that's what you would need to use. So what you would do is you take your blood pressure while you're laying down, right? Just relax, take some deep breaths, and take your blood pressure as you're laying down. Then and record what that is, right? Then as soon as you're done with that, like immediately get up right away, super quickly, like suddenly, I mean fast. Just get up and take your blood pressure again immediately. The moment, like as soon as you're doing that, as you're getting up, you're taking your blood pressure again. If your blood pressure is 10 points less than at least 10 points or more less than what it was when you were standing up. So let's say that when you were laying down, you were at like, let's say 110/65, right? 110/65. And then you get up and immediately you take it again and it drops down to 100/60. The top number was less, 10 points less than when you were laying down, then that means that you have some kind of adrenal dysfunction. The easy way to also do that without, necessarily taking your blood pressure, although I wouldn't replace one with the other. If you notice though that when you're laying down and you get up, you get up quickly, that you get really kind of dizzy and lightheaded and like, whoa, you kind of feel like you're going to fall. That's sort of like the same thing, because your blood pressure is, you're keeping it steady at 110. When you get up, your body, it's an immediate reaction to stress. And when your adrenals are not working properly, instead of your blood pressure kind of going up, it'll go down. So that's an easy way to figure out if you have adrenal dysfunction. And then from there, you can also go ahead and request that saliva test from your doctor if you want more information. A regular allopathic physician is not going to give you that test for the most part. They may not even necessarily know what that test is. It's more of the functional doctors, naturopathic doctors, some chiropractors will be able to give you that test and then discuss those test results with you. So that's my recommendation for testing out your adrenals. Then as we were talking more about, stress and the adrenal connection and some of the effects of stress on the body, somebody said, this really rings true to me because I exercise. I actually exercise more now than I did before. And I'm eating better. I have a clean diet, very well informed, but I have continued to gain weight progressively. And no matter what I do, I can't lose weight. Could it be because of stress? I am under a lot of stress at work right now. A lot of projects, not sleeping very much. Could this be stress related? Yes, absolutely. It could be stress related. It could be higher cortisol levels. That's what it would be. It would be higher and sustained levels of cortisol in the body. So it would be important for you to take a look at the steps to heal your adrenals and go through that protocol to see if that's going to help you to lose the weight. I would also recommend not exercising very hard because when you're exercising hard, and especially if you're doing a lot of cardio, you're putting a lot of stress on your body. So that's something that you don't want to do. Remember that your body cannot distinguish one type of stress from another type of stress. If it's stress because you're sitting in traffic, or if it's stress from relationship issues, or stress from working out a lot and putting your body in strain from working out too much, your body cannot tell the difference. So I've had patients that I've worked with that we've actually decrease their level of intensity in working out. And we've done some other, we've taken some other steps and taken some other, ways of treating their adrenals, and they have then started to lose weight, exercise less. All right, so not saying that that's the case for everybody all the time, but it is the case for some people, definitely some of the time. Okay. All righty, let's move on. I would love to know from these, from all these steps in this protocol that I'm giving you here, this mini protocol for balancing out your adrenals, how you're doing with it. Are you, have you been able to implement any of this yet? I know that it takes time because this is basically adjusting your lifestyle. This isn't something that's going to change in a week. This isn't something that's going to happen right away. But I would love to know if you've been able to implement some of these steps and how they're working out for you. Especially with your breathing exercises and your meditation. I'd love to know if you downloaded this app and how it's working out for you. And remember, when you do it, to do this hopefully before 7 a.m. That's my recommendation. 7 a.m. or earlier, 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes of this exercise. How is that working out for you? And then also, of course, the meditation piece. With the meditation, I know with the technique that it could be a bit frustrating at the beginning because you feel that you're sitting there, but you're still going through, whatever issues you need to resolve in your life, in your business, whatever, in your relationship, and you're sitting there thinking like, I'm not even really doing anything, but you are. This builds up. Okay, it's just like everything else. Just like, if you had a certain lifestyle and then you start eating differently, don't work out, don't exercise, don't move, and then you're eating like crap, well, it's, you're not going to see the changes from one day to the other. You're not going to gain like, 50 pounds in 1 week. It's something that happens over time. And it's the same thing with meditation. It happens over time. So if you're at a certain place in your life and you're losing weight, also you're not going to lose it right away. It takes time. It takes time for your body to adjust, for your mind, and for those new habits to get created, which is exactly what meditation is too. So don't get discouraged if you're not feeling like you're doing enough, or you're not, seeing the results right away that you feel you should be getting. Give it some time. Stick with it, and just remember to be patient with yourself. Because if you're getting frustrated with yourself, if you're, maybe feeling something that's coming up, or like, you feel frustrated that you're going through what I like to call the grocery list, all the to-dos on your life, don't get frustrated. It's the moment that you are aware that these things are coming up for you, just move them out of the way and keep focusing on your breath. So just be patient with yourself, be mindful, and give it some time. I'd love to know how you're doing with it. And I also got some really interesting feedback about beliefs, and I'd written a blog about beliefs as well that you can access on my website, on the blog in my website, that I got also some really, really great feedback on when I first wrote it. And it may seem impossible that we can change something that's so deeply rooted, or those inner conversations that we've been having for so long, but it is actually totally possible. So it's something that I really encourage my patients to give a try, no matter what. When I work with somebody, whether it's something related to food, or whether it's something related to weight, or adrenals and thyroid, or women's issues, or whatever it is we may be working on, or we're working on something more like depression, we always at the core go back to beliefs. What are your beliefs and how can we change them? So this is something that I really would love for you to take a look at. and give it a try. Do the exercises. If you go to the downloads area, then you can find even more information about beliefs. There's also a link to the article that I wrote that you can go ahead and take a look at. And, I give you steps to do exercises for belief modification. So the question that I had was from somebody who was having a hard time with the belief modification exercise, because we're supposed to, once we identify the negative or disempowering belief, then we go ahead and match it up with an empowering, healthy belief, right? So notice how I'm never talking about positive thinking and positive beliefs. It's very, very different if you're feeling like complete crap about something, and it's rooted to a belief, or it goes back to a belief that you have about yourself. Like a very common one is, I'm not good enough, right? I'm just not good enough. What if people don't like me? I'm just not good enough. What if I'm not loved? I'm not worthy of being loving. So once you identify those beliefs and the thoughts that go attached to those beliefs, then you change that around to a more healthy, empowering belief, never just something positive. Like, oh, my life is so great and I love absolutely everything about it, and this is just absolutely fantastic. Because that anyway, that's not really being true to yourself and honoring who you are, right? So we word it in a way that is actually empowering and healthy without being hypocritical, right? So if your belief was, I'm not worthy of being loved, the underlying belief is, I'm not worthy of being loved, then your newly created belief is, I am worthy, I am lovable, and I am more than enough. That could be your empowering belief. Well, the comment came from, I'm having a hard time with this because I'm having a hard time repeating that in my mind because I truly don't believe it. And that is very common. This is a really great comment. Like, I feel fake and I feel not true to myself when I'm saying that. It's not truly what I believe. What can I do? Is this normal? Is this a part of the process? Absolutely, it is a part of the process. It took you years of conditioning to get to that place of not feeling worthy, right? So the way out of conditioning is to do more conditioning. All right, so we're just going to condition with different things. And it doesn't matter if in the beginning you don't believe, or you think it's BS and it's not true. Why am I saying this? I feel fake. It's fine. It's okay. Just keep at it. Eventually, your brain will start to be like, okay, I know that this doesn't sound right. This doesn't feel right. This doesn't sound authentic. But if I keep saying it enough and you just kind of keep repeating it like a broken record, eventually it's going to start to catch up, and your brain's almost immediately going to start picking up that empowering belief instead of the disempowering one. Because imagine how long, for how many years you've been drilling the disempowering belief in your mind. Well, don't expect this to work immediately. It's going to take some time. Just keep at it. Don't lose hope and don't lose faith. All right. So just give it, some time. Give it some time to work. It'll be worth it. You'll see. Eventually, this will become automatic, where if the disempowering belief comes up, your brain will eventually just automatically counteract it with the empowering belief. But you need to give this time to practice. Sometimes it can be weeks, sometimes it can be months. But if you're really disciplined at conditioning, reconditioning, and rewiring your brain, you will see some differences. All right. So yeah, this is basically the same thing. Those were the questions that I had for this week, and the comments that I had as well. I really would love to hear more of your feedback now that we're wrapping up week 3. I would love to know how you're feeling and how you're doing, and most importantly, what you've learned and what you're going to take with you as we finish this process. And as we move away from from, you know, our time together with the detox. Just know that the elimination piece, or that reintroduction piece of the elimination diet, will take some time depending on how many foods you're adding back into your diet. So even though we're saying goodbye pretty soon or see you later pretty soon, you're going to continue on with the process. Please continue to send me your questions and any concerns that you may have. I am here for you. I would love to know, you know, more about your progress and how you're doing. I will be sending you a survey later on this week, towards the end of the week, just to get your feedback on everything about the program. Obviously, this is the first time that I'm running it, so I want to know your feedback. I would really, really appreciate, you know, your feedback and just any information, not only like about how you did and how you feel and the changes in your life that you're seeing, but also on the logistics of the program, the content, and where you feel that we might improve for other future courses and other future editions of the Whole Life Detox. So I will be sending that out to you later. I also just want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to serve you and to be here with you and for you in this process. You all have been absolutely fantastic to work with. You've participated. You have shown just, you know, so much curiosity, intellectual curiosity throughout this process. I'm very happy, very impressed, and proud of this group. So thank you, thank you, thank you very much. And I really hope to see you next time, hopefully very soon. So you'll be hearing from me about the survey. If you complete the survey, we are going to, or I'm going to offer you a 30-minute strategy consultation post detox, so that we can talk about your goals a little bit more. And I will send you that information later on when I send the survey information, so that you will have that, and you know that we can go ahead, jump on the phone and see if we can map out a plan for you in a 30-minute phone call. And I will do that as appreciation for you filling out that survey. So thank you all so much. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have, and I cannot wait to have, you know, more time with you, hopefully later. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Have an amazing week and make it awesome and wonderful. All right, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.